I, 28F, have been married to James, 30M, for 2 years. We met in college 6 years ago when we were both studying business at State University. I was there on a full academic scholarship while James came from a wealthy family. I worked part-time at the campus coffee shop to cover my living expenses, which is actually where we first met. I remember that day clearly. James came in to get coffee before his morning class, and we started talking about our shared business ethics course. He wasn't like other wealthy students who looked down on the scholarship kids. He was genuinely interested in my views on the case study we were discussing in class. We exchanged numbers to work on a group project together, and things just clicked from there. We dated throughout college, and James never made me feel less because I came from a working-class family. My parents owned a small hardware store, and they worked hard to put me and my sister through school. When James came to our house for the first time, he fit right in, helping my dad organize inventory and learning my mom's secret recipe for apple pie. The problem started when I met James's mother, Sarah, 56F, during our senior year. James had warned me that his mom could be particular, but nothing prepared me for what happened. The moment we walked into their mansion, yes, an actual mansion, Sarah's face fell. She looked at me like she'd found a cockroach in her expensive salad. During dinner, Sarah barely acknowledged my existence. She asked James about his classes and future plans but completely ignored me. When I tried to join the conversation about James's plans to join the family business after graduation, Sarah cut me off and started talking about their family's country club membership. After dinner, I went to the bathroom and overheard Sarah talking to James in his father's study. "Really, James," she said, "you could do so much better. She's not even pretty enough to be seen at our social events. What will people think? The Richardson's daughter just finished law school, and she's gorgeous. Or what about Karen's daughter, Simone? She's doing so well with her modeling career." James defended me, saying he loved me and didn't care about social status or what I looked like. But Sarah wouldn't stop. Over the next few months, she started a campaign to break us up. She would send James photos of other women, especially Simone, 27F, a model who came from another wealthy family. Sarah and Simone's mom, Karen, had been best friends since college and they'd always hoped their kids would get together. Despite Sarah's disapproval, James proposed to me after graduation. He used his grandmother's ring, which made Sarah furious because she'd been saving it for someone worthy. She tried to sabotage our wedding planning at every turn. She insisted on inviting hundreds of their wealthy friends, knowing we wanted a small ceremony. When we refused, she started telling everyone I was trying to alienate James from his social circle. The wedding itself was beautiful, even though Sarah wore black like she was at a funeral. During her speech, she managed to insult me while pretending to welcome me to the family. "Well," she said, raising her glass, "James has always had a charitable heart. I suppose that extends to his choice of bride." Things got worse after we got married. Sarah would show up unannounced at our apartment, always bringing magazines featuring Simone's latest modeling shoots. She'd leave them on our coffee table, post passive-aggressive comments on our social media, and tell anyone who would listen that James had married beneath him. Last month, everything came to a head. Sarah invited us to a family dinner, claiming she wanted to make amends. When we arrived, we found out she had invited Simone too. Sarah had arranged the seating so James would sit next to Simone while I was relegated to the far end of the table between two empty chairs. Throughout dinner, Sarah kept praising Simone's achievements. "Simone just booked a campaign with Gucci," she'd say, then turn to me. "What was your latest project at that little marketing firm again? Something about local plumbers?" She kept accidentally calling me by the wrong name and making comments about how James always had a thing for blondes like Simone. "I have dark hair." The final straw came during dessert. Sarah clinked her glass and made an announcement. She said she'd been talking to her friend who's a divorce lawyer, and she'd be happy to pay all the legal fees if James would come to his senses and leave me for Simone. She even had divorce papers in her purse, ready for James to sign. James was furious. He stood up, grabbed my hand, and we left immediately. Since then, Sarah has been on a mission to destroy our marriage. She's telling everyone in their social circle that I trapped James by pretending to be something I'm not. She started a rumor that I had plastic surgery before meeting James, but it didn't take, which makes no sense because there are plenty of photos of me from college looking exactly the same as I do now. James's father Tom, 58M, tries to stay neutral, telling us to just ignore Sarah's behavior. But it's getting harder to ignore when she keeps showing up at our house with Simone in tow, claiming they were just in the neighborhood. She created a Facebook group called Save James from His Mistake where she posts side-by-side photos of me and Simone, asking people to vote on who looks better. James has blocked his mother on everything and told her she's not welcome in our lives until she apologizes and accepts me. But Sarah keeps finding ways to contact us. She sends letters to our neighbors saying James is trapped in an unhappy marriage with an ugly wife. She even contacted my workplace, telling my boss that I'm emotionally manipulating her son and should be fired because unstable people shouldn't work in marketing. I know I'm not a supermodel, but I'm not ugly either. I'm just a normal-looking person who happened to fall in love with someone whose mother thinks her son deserves better. James loves me and says he doesn't care what his mother thinks, but it's starting to affect our lives. Some of his family members have stopped talking to us, believing Sarah's lies about me being a gold digger who trapped their precious James. I just don't know what to do anymore. James is firmly on my side, but this constant harassment is exhausting. Sarah's behavior is affecting my work, our social life, and my self-esteem. James says we should get a restraining order, but I'm worried that would just make things worse with his family. Am I wrong for not walking away? Should I divorce James to give him a chance at the life his mother wants for him? Edit. Thank you all for your supportive comments. To clarify, James has no interest in Simone or any other woman. He's been amazing through all of this and stands up to his mother every time. We're just tired of the constant drama. Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone for their supportive comments and messages. Things have gotten significantly worse since my last post, but knowing I'm not crazy for standing up to Sarah has helped a lot. The day after I made my post, Sarah started a new campaign against me. She hired a private investigator to follow me around and take photos of me doing everyday things. I first noticed something was wrong when I kept seeing the same guy at my grocery store, my gym, and even outside my office. At first, I thought I was being paranoid, but then my coworker showed me Sarah's new Instagram account. The account, called The Real James Wife, is filled with unflattering photos of me doing normal things, loading groceries into my car, working out at the gym, walking to work, paired with professional modeling shots of Simone. Sarah captions each post with things like what James settled for versus what James deserves or duck versus swan, you decide. She even posted a photo of me eating a burger at lunch with the caption "No wonder she looks like that, who will save my son from this?" The harassment has gotten so bad that I had to change my gym and grocery store. I started wearing hoodies and sunglasses everywhere because I never know when I'm being photographed. James called the Pies agency to complain, but apparently, Sarah pays them too well for them to care. But here's where things get really interesting. Last weekend, James's sister Emma, 25F, came over in tears. She had discovered something shocking about why Sarah is so obsessed with breaking us up. It turns out that before James even met me, Sarah and Karen, Simone's mom, had made a deal. They had literally planned out their kids' entire future without their knowledge. Emma found an old document in Sarah's home office while looking for some family photos. It was a formal-looking agreement, signed by both Sarah and Karen when James and Simone were still in high school. The document laid out plans for James and Simone to marry after college, combining their family businesses. They had even picked out the wedding venue, the same country club where both Sarah and Karen had gotten married. According to Emma, the agreement included details about how the merged businesses would be run, which family would control what aspects, and even specifications about where James and Simone would live. They had planned everything down to the number of children they expected them to have, 3, all privately educated, of course. Emma overheard Sarah and Karen arguing about it on the phone. Karen was furious because the failed marriage plan meant their business merger couldn't happen. Apparently, they'd already started making moves based on the assumption that James and Simone would marry. Karen's company had even begun restructuring in preparation for the merger. When James heard this, he was livid. He immediately drove to his mother's house to confront her. Sarah tried to defend herself, saying she was just looking out for his future. She showed him projections of how wealthy he could have been if he'd married Simone. The combined businesses would have made him one of the youngest billionaires in the state. But Sarah wasn't done yet. While James was confronting her about the agreement, we discovered she had done something even worse. She had created a profile for James on an exclusive dating app called Elite Singles. She used his photos from LinkedIn and wrote a bio describing him as a wealthy heir looking for a suitable partner from a respectable family. The profile mentioned that he was technically married but seeking better options. She paid for a premium membership and had been messaging women, pretending to be James. Several of these women have found me on social media to warn me about my cheating husband. One even sent screenshots of conversations where James had promised to leave his plain wife for someone more suitable. James reported the profile immediately, but the damage was done. The screenshots had already spread through their social circle. Now some of James's relatives really believe he's looking to leave me. His cousin Tyler stopped talking to him, saying he couldn't believe James would disrespect his wife like that. When we tried to explain that Sarah created the profile, Tyler said we were just covering up James's cheating. Sarah is using this confusion to her advantage. She's telling everyone that James created the dating profile himself because he's unhappy with me but feels trapped. She's organized a support group for James, inviting his friends and family to discuss how they can save him from his mistake. Some of James's old friends from his country club have started texting him, offering to set him up with their sisters or cousins. They all claim they're just trying to help him upgrade to someone more suitable. It's like they're all living in some bizarre alternate reality where marriage is just about appearances and social status. James is talking about taking legal action against his mother for defamation and harassment. He's already contacted a lawyer about the fake dating profile. But Sarah doesn't seem worried. She told James that no judge from their social circle would side with his common wife over a respected family like theirs. I'm trying to stay strong, but it's getting harder. Every time I think Sarah can't stoop lower, she proves me wrong. James is incredibly supportive and keeps reminding me that he chose me, not the life his mother planned for him. But I can't help wondering how long we can keep fighting this battle. Emma has moved in with us temporarily because Sarah kicked her out for betraying the family by exposing the marriage agreement. At least we have her support. James's father Tom still won't get involved, saying we should all just calm down and work things out. I don't think he realizes that his wife is literally trying to destroy our marriage. How do you fight someone who has unlimited resources and no moral boundaries? Every time we block Sarah on one platform, she creates new accounts. Every time we think we've handled one problem, she creates 3 more. I'm starting to understand why some people just give up and walk away from toxic family members. Edit. Some people are asking about Simone's role in all this. As far as we know, she was aware of her mother's plans but never actively participated in them. She just went along with what her mother wanted, like she's apparently done her whole life. Update 2. I didn't think things could get more twisted than what I shared in my last update, but here we are. Something happened yesterday that changed everything, and I need to share it. A man named Alex, 29M, showed up at our door last night. He introduced himself as Simone's boyfriend of 2 years. Yes, you read that right, Simone has had a boyfriend this whole time. Alex looked exhausted and angry. He said he couldn't keep quiet anymore about what Sarah and Simone were doing. According to Alex, Sarah approached Simone 6 months ago with a proposition. She offered Simone $500,000 to break up our marriage. The plan was simple: Simone would seduce James, convince him to leave me, marry him, and then after a year, file for divorce. Sarah had it all mapped out. She even had lawyers ready to ensure Simone would get a substantial portion of James's assets in the divorce settlement. But that's not even the worst part. Sarah had promised Simone an additional $500,000 if she could get pregnant with James's child during their marriage. Sarah's exact words, according to Alex, were, "We need to secure the family bloodline with someone beautiful." The idea was that once Simone had James's baby, he would be tied to her forever, and I would be completely out of the picture. Alex showed us text messages between Sarah and Simone discussing the plan. There were detailed strategies about how Simone should act around James, what she should wear, and even scripts for what she should say. Sarah had even booked and paid for hotel rooms where Simone was supposed to accidentally run into James. The messages also revealed that all those times Sarah brought Simone to our house just to visit, they were actually planned attempts at seduction. Simone was supposed to find ways to be alone with James and make advances. But James was never alone with her because he always made sure to stay by my side during these visits. When we confronted Simone with this evidence, she broke down completely. She admitted everything but said she never actually intended to go through with seducing James. She claimed she was just playing along because Sarah was threatening to destroy her modeling career if she didn't cooperate. Apparently, Sarah had dirt on Simone's past that could ruin her reputation in the fashion industry. Simone also revealed that Sarah had been paying her monthly installments of $10,000 just to keep showing up at family events and playing along. She showed us her bank statements proving the payments. Sarah had labeled them as modeling consultation fees to avoid suspicion. The truth about why Alex finally came forward is interesting too. He found out that Sarah had hired someone to try to break him and Simone up. Sarah thought Simone would be more likely to genuinely pursue James if she was single. The person Sarah hired had been spreading rumors about Alex cheating, trying to create problems between him and Simone. James was absolutely disgusted when he heard all this. Finding out that his mother was literally trying to buy him a new wife and orchestrate his divorce was apparently the final straw. He called Sarah immediately and told her he knew everything. Sarah didn't even deny it. Instead, she defended her actions, saying she was investing in his future happiness. Simone has since moved to Los Angeles with Alex, supposedly to get away from Sarah's influence. Before she left, she wrote us a long letter of apology, explaining how Sarah had manipulated and threatened her into participating in the scheme. She included copies of all her correspondence with Sarah, which our lawyer says could be useful if we decide to take legal action. The fallout has been massive. When other family members found out about Sarah's plot, many of them finally turned against her. Even James's father Tom, who had been trying to stay neutral, was horrified. He called James to apologize for not believing how bad things had gotten. Emma is furious too. She went through her own bank statements and discovered that Sarah had been paying her monthly allowance from a bank account labeled Operation Save James. Essentially, Sarah had been using family money to fund her campaign to destroy our marriage. The whole situation feels surreal. Sarah took something that should have been simple, a mother accepting her son's choice of wife, and turned it into an elaborate conspiracy involving paid actors, secret bank accounts, and planned seductions. It's like something out of a bad movie, except we're living it. James is done with his mother. Completely done. He says he can forgive a lot of things, but trying to orchestrate his divorce and manipulate him into having a baby with someone else crosses every possible line. We're talking to our lawyer about legal options, including a restraining order. Edit, for those asking, yes, we have copies of all the text messages, bank statements, and other evidence. Our lawyer says Sarah's actions could constitute harassment, defamation, and possibly even extortion. Update 3. Hi everyone. A lot has happened since my last update, and I wanted to share where things stand now. After discovering Sarah's payment scheme with Simone, we realized we needed to make some major changes in our lives. 3 weeks ago, James and I moved to Denver. We sold our house, thankfully for a good price in this market, and found jobs at companies that had no connection to either of our families. James got a position at a tech startup, and I found a marketing role at a growing healthcare company. We bought a house in a quiet neighborhood where nobody knows about our past or Sarah's drama. The decision to move wasn't easy, but it became necessary when Sarah's behavior got even more extreme. After we exposed her scheme with Simone, she started showing up at James's office daily, crying to his co-workers about how I had brainwashed her son into abandoning their family legacy. She even tried to get him fired by telling his boss that he was stealing company secrets to start his own business. Then she started a new campaign on social media, posting old photos of James with various women from college, claiming these were all relationships I had ruined with my manipulation. Some of these women were just his friends, and others were completely photoshopped. She even created fake text messages between James and these women, making it look like he was having multiple affairs. The breaking point came when Sarah somehow got hold of our private medical records. She found out we had started trying for a baby and completely lost it. She contacted every fertility clinic in our area, pretending to be me, and canceled all our upcoming appointments. Then she started telling everyone that I was infertile and selfish for not letting James find someone who could give him children. That's when Tom, James's dad, finally took action. He filed for divorce from Sarah, saying he couldn't watch her destroy their son's life anymore. The divorce proceedings revealed that Sarah had spent over $200,000 on her various schemes to break us up, money she had taken from their joint accounts without Tom's knowledge. Emma moved with us to Denver. She found a job at a local newspaper and is living in our guest house while she saves for her own place. She's much happier away from Sarah's influence and has started dating someone new. Tom visits us monthly and is looking at houses in our area, planning to move here once his divorce is finalized. Sarah still tries to reach us. She managed to get our new address somehow and sent a 15-page letter about how we're destroying the family's legacy. She included another set of divorce papers and a check for $1 million, saying it was my payout for walking away from James. We returned everything unopened and had our lawyer send her a cease and desist letter. Last week, we got news that Simone did an interview with a local magazine back home, exposing everything Sarah had asked her to do. Sarah's reputation in their social circle is ruined. Most of their country club friends have cut ties with her, and she's been asked to step down from several charity boards she chaired. James and I are finally finding peace in our new life. We've made new friends who like us for who we are, not our family connections or appearance. I'm pregnant now. Turns out those cancelled appointments didn't matter, but we're not telling Sarah or posting about it on social media. Only Tom and Emma know. Some people might think we took the coward's way out by moving, but we see it differently. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from toxic situations and build something new. We're done trying to reason with Sarah or win her approval. James says he's happier now than he's ever been, and honestly, so am I. Edit. Thank you for all the supportive messages. To address some questions, yes, we've kept evidence of all Sarah's harassment in case we need it for legal action. And no, we won't be telling her about the baby. Some people don't deserve to be grandparents.